Hello everybody, my name is Kirby Kwan Jr. and you are watching the 2-in-1 cosplay project for 2019 once again. Today we're going to get into more character specific things by building the Kuro Kabuto, also known as the SHREDDER'S helmet from the Ninja Turtles for the 35th anniversary of, well, the Ninja Turtles. So if you're with it, come and get it. Let's get started. So before I forget, this is how I made my Shredder helmet, so you could definitely deviate from this video at any time you wish. This is just a general guide of how to make a general Shredder helmet, specifically the one that I used. So let's continue. Alright, so let's quickly talk about tools and materials that you will need for this build. You will need 8mm floor mat foam, 1mm craft foam, contact cement for your glue, hot glue gun, some gray plasti dip, and some silver paint. Of course, you also need the standard materials such as a heat gun, a knife, or scissors. So let's quickly talk about pattern design. When making this helmet, I split it into two main components, which would be the helmet base itself and then the crest. So for the helmet base itself, I based it loosely off of Evil Ted Smith's Paladin helmet, which you could actually download for free. But what I did was I extended the length of the bottom edge for the helmet so that it would flare outwards a little bit. You can do this by tracing out the bottom piece and extending the very back edge in a diagonal angle and pulling the overall length just a little bit more. I think for mine it was just by 2 inches or maybe even just 1 inch on each side. In regards to how I designed the crest, honestly, it just kind of follows the basic trim pattern from the original pattern by Evil Ted, and then what I did was I just kind of drew a pitchfork-like design, and then I made sure to round the tips on the end. And this is the fun part, which is the assembly of the piece. So of course, firstly trace and cut out all the helmet patterns onto the 8mm foam, and then also cut out a thin tape-like strip on the 1mm craft foam. How thick you want it, or more so how wide you want it, will be up to you. After cutting out all these helmet patterns, make sure to heat treat them just a little bit just to get some form into them, and then glue the helmet pieces together by using contact cement. So apply a very thin layer on either side, let it sit for about 5 to 10 minutes, and then apply contact until they cure. After building the helmet itself, apply some heat to the sides and the edges so that the helmet could flare out a little bit more. Now would also be a good time for you to apply the strips of 1mm foam on the seams for a decorative trim. Now let's move on to the crest. On the wrong side or the inside of the crest, draw a straight line down each spoke and then bevel in a ditch on those lines that you drew. So what that means is you have to cut a V-shaped strip out of the center of each spoke, or just simply use a Dremel tool if you have one and just dig one right in there. Then glue the bevels shut with contact cement and let it cure fully. Lastly, heat form the tips of the crest for a slight flare. Of course, now you can glue the crest to the helmet with contact cement and then use hot glue for the edges or the tips. Now in regards to the painting process, I kept it fairly simple by applying 2 coats of gray plasti dip, making sure that it sits for 20 minutes in between coats, and then I let it cure for a full 2 hours. Afterwards, I hand painted the crest in silver, and once you get that done, that's pretty much it, really. It's a fairly simple piece to make. While I was at Anime North, I got a few people asking me how I made it, and as you can see, it's a pretty simple process by adapting a pre-made helmet pattern out there, and then for the crest, it was a fairly simple thing to make. In regards to making your own helmet, it's important to make sure that the crest has some degree of dimension and it doesn't look too flat. And also, it's good to make it in one piece so that it doesn't look too segmented or distracting. Anyways, my name is Kirby Kwan Jr. I will be continuing with the series, especially since the costume is actually done, so look forward to those videos. But for now, take care.